I am very excited to share with you. This just arrived this morning. It is the May 2021 Art Snacks Plus box. Let's open this up and take a look inside. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Angela, the artist behind Clark Fine Art, and today I just got my May Art Snacks Plus box. I have broken the seal, but I do not know what is inside. Let's take a look together. Ooh. Now, I'm excited about this. This is the hot pressed white. And it is watercolor paper, so I'm curious to see what else is going to be in this box. But I've been wanting to try Bockingford because Paul Clark, if any of you have not seen him, again, no relation. If you have not seen his channel, he does strictly watercolor painting. And it is amazing. He is a wonderful... the way that he teaches is wonderful. He's so easy to follow. He makes it look so easy. Paul, I love your channel. If you have not seen it before, I will put a link to that. Check the description below because if you're into watercolor, he is definitely worth watching. So I know he's also a new channel and yeah, amazing stuff. So check him out. This is Bockingford, and he uses Bockingford sometimes. He uses Bockingford rough, but this is the hot press white, so I'm really looking forward to trying that. And look at that. That is a full-size pad. It's 12 inches by 9 inches, and made in England. I can't wait to give that a try. Let's see what else we have. I'm just going to set this under here. Okay. So, okay, we have Gray Matters paper palette. So, fantastic. If you don't know what this is like a paper that you can actually lay your paint on, you know, just use as a regular palette, and then of course you can dispose of them. But this is in gray, which really, using a gray palette, if you've seen my videos where I'm painting in acrylic, I have the Posh palette, and that is a glass palette that is also gray. I chose gray because your colors show up more true. I'll put a link to that palette in the description below if you're interested in checking it out. But this is, yeah, I'm excited about that. I will definitely be using that. So, okay, we've got some watercolor paper, and now we have some palette paper. So what are we doing this month? Let's see. I'm going to take this out of here and move the box out of our way. All right. So in our pouch, of course, we have our cards. This is the card that comes with your Art Snacks Plus, menu, and that covers the palette paper and the hot press watercolor paper by Bockingford, or Bockingford by St. Cuthbert's Mill. And then there is the one now if you just get the regular, so Art Snacks, if you're not familiar, and of course I will put a link in the description. I am not affiliated with Art Snacks. I would love to be, because so far I am loving their boxes. But I am not affiliated with them. I am not sponsored. They did not send me this box. I purchased it with my own money to share with you. So yeah, full disclosure there. All right. Oh, so looks like I'm seeing gouache. So that's most likely where our palette paper is coming in, because we have some gouache. So what are we doing with this? Let's see what's inside. Little package here. And if you're liking these videos, please take a moment and hit that thumbs up. YouTube definitely rewards interaction. And if you're enjoying these unboxing of the art subscription boxes, definitely that lets me know. So if you are, please hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more of these, click that subscribe button and click the bell icon, and YouTube will notify you when my next video is out. I'm trying to cover the art subscription boxes regularly because I know when I was trying to choose which subscription box I would get, it was very confusing. There's so many out there. Which one was right for me? Which one wouldn't be? That is a rabbit hole if you've ever searched that on YouTube. Now, I did make a video where I covered, I believe it was 5 different subscription boxes. If you have not seen that yet, I will link to that here. And you can check that out. So here we're talking Art Snacks Plus, which is one of the ones I chose to continue receiving. And if you got the regular, that's what I started to tell you, excuse me, the Art Snacks box, the regular Art Snacks box, would come with the 2 tubes of gouache. Now, it is going to be less expensive. It's very reasonably priced, but you would just have gotten these 2 tubes of gouache, which retail for about $10.75 each. And this is Royal Talons Extra Fine Gouache. So I have white and yellow ochre. And then you also would have received... Oh, that's sad. That's disappointing. Look at that. Look what happened to that brush in shipping because of the way they wrapped it. They bent it. Can I fix it? Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. I'll get that in some, dip that in some really hot water. So if you have an issue with a brush like this, and maybe I'll make a video with this very brush to try to show you that. That's a little disappointing. And I know it was in the way that it was wrapped. Whoever wrapped this particular package, when they put it in there, they just folded this end a little too close, and so it damaged my brush by sitting that way the whole time in transit. So, yeah, if you're interested, hit that thumbs up button. I'll do a video and show you how you can try to fix it, and we'll see if we can't fix this brush. But this is the Kingcraft Original Gold 9800 series Golden Taklon brush, and this is a dagger. It is a 3/8 inch. And this is retail of $11.99. So it seems very well made. I'm looking forward to trying to fix that and then using it. There is also the Tombow Mono Dust Catch Eraser. Retail is $1.59. I'm loving my Tombow Mono. I have a Tombow Mono Zero, which I love for erasing fine details. If you've not checked out some of these Tombow eraser products yet, I definitely recommend, because so far I'm loving them. So I can put a link to those in the description below if you're interested in finding more out on that. But this says the Tombow Mono Dust Catch Eraser. You won't leave a mess behind with the Tombow Mono Dust Catch Eraser. Made from tacky polymer, this eraser catches dust as you erase. Interesting. So the residue sticks to the eraser rather than falling off and littering your workspace. So interesting. And it's black. So I'm really curious. I don't like using colored erasers, especially on white paper, because I'm always afraid they're going to mark my paper. So I'm really curious about this. We are going to give that a try and check it out. And then, of course, there is the General's Kimberly Graphite Pencil 2B. This is it says 91-cent retail value. And the Kimberly Graphite Pencil from General's Pencil is a timeless classic known for its dark green finish and retro metal cap. This pencil is extra smooth and strong to the core. Its graphite is made from General's special family formula, while its body is constructed from sustained yield cedar wood. So, those would be the supplies. If you just got the basic Art Snacks box, these would be what you received this time. And, of course, there's our sticker and our candy. I always put this aside. I do not like to store my boxes with candy in them. And I do like to keep, until I've done a video and really shown you how I use the supplies, I try to keep my boxes together. So I have got a bunch of boxes together. I've got to get these videos out for you guys so you can check them out. But this would be the basic Art Snack box. If you have upgraded like I have to the Art Snack Plus box, then you're also going to get the full-size Surface, which here is the Bockingford traditional hot press watercolor paper, which they say Bockingford is a beautiful English watercolor paper made at St. Cuthbert's Mill. The velvety surface is created using natural woolen felts and appreciated for its excellent color lifting abilities. This paper can also handle heavy washes without buckling, thanks to its heavy 300 GSM weight. Your new gouache paints will flourish on this smooth hot press surface. So I'm excited to give this a try. I definitely can't wait to use that. And of course, the Gray Matters palette paper. Explore color mixing with the Jack Richardson, I'm probably butchering that, Gray Matters paper palette, featuring a neutral warm gray surface. This paper palette is perfect for mixing accurate color values. It displays the actual color of paint so you can see what the hues look like before applying them to your surface. You'll find 30 sheets of smooth paper in this pad. That's 30 disposable paint palettes, as well as a helpful color mixing guide for artists of all skill levels. So they talk about the mixing guide, and that of course shows up right here. So very interesting. Can't wait to give that a go. I will definitely be using that paper. So there you have it. That is what is in the May 2021 Art Snacks Plus box. What can we do with this? Well, I think I'm going to open this paper, grab some water, come up with an idea for our yellow and white gouache. So we need to do something that is yellow and white. Interesting that they gave us the dagger brush. Again, I'm not going to use this one today, only because I really do want to do a video for you guys to show you how, if you damage a brush like this, you might be able to salvage it. So I'm going to save that one. I do have another dagger brush that I can use, so I will grab that. I will get right back with you, and let's see what we can do with these supplies. I just want to take a moment and share with you, because I just pulled a piece of the Bockingford watercolor paper out. First impression, wow. This is not flimsy paper. This is not flimsy paper. I was going to cut it in half, and normally I can take, I have my cutter here. Normally I can just take my piece of watercolor paper if I want to cut it in half and kind of bend it over. And if you see here, like, this is not wanting to let me, because I like to bend it, put the corners together, and just so I can easily catch the little at the center and open that. And look at that. That is stiff paper. Look, I could not just pop that into a nice little crease. So fortunately I've just damaged part of that paper, but I had to jump on and share that with you. This is definitely a nice, heavy watercolor paper. This is hot pressed, and I was cutting it down just because having just the yellow and white gouache and a charcoal pencil, or excuse me, a graphite pencil to work with, I have no idea what to do, because one, the paper's white. And with the paper being white, and it's really, this is a really nice color. It's kind of a cream white color. So I think I will take the piece that has most of the damage in that corner, and that's what we'll do for our sample project today. And I'm going to take this one and the other half and tuck it away. So I like, when you get a pad this size, you don't have to do everything in this size. Don't be afraid to cut it down and make smaller pieces. I could even cut this down smaller one more time. I could cut this in half, do a design on here, and then take that and attach it to, say, a card. You know, fold the cardstock in half and glue this piece actually right onto it. So that's an idea of something that you can do, but I just wanted to jump in and share with you. This is That's some thick paper. This is, at first touch, super smooth, which is what I would expect from hot press. One side feels only slightly different from the other. And I don't know if you can see the texture in that. It's kind of got some little, looks like lines, little grainy lines in there. Yeah, it's not going to show up very great on camera, sorry. But the other side, it's very smooth. Very smooth. Exactly what I would expect from hot press paper. But yeah, 300 GSM, 140 pound. But I've felt other 300 gram per square meter paper that's 140 pound paper, and it's not as stiff and rigid as this is. I bet that if I was doing straight watercolor, I would do more of a review on this paper, because if I was doing straight watercolor paper, I could feel where this maybe won't buckle as much as some other watercolor papers. And it does say, for those of you who are interested in the paper, that its attractive surface is created using natural woolen felts. So I have to guess, nowhere on here does it say, 100% cotton paper. But if it's made using natural woolen felts, I'm guessing that this is not a cellulose paper. I have to do some more research on that to share with you. But first impression, like it. Definitely like it. Let me gather up the rest of my supplies, and we will create a project with these items. So I decided with these supplies that came in the Art Snacks Plus box that I'm going to do a scene with graphite and then use my 2 colors of gouache and create a wash over them, and just to do kind of like a monochromatic type painting. So I'm going to sketch this out, and I will fast forward as I do that, and then we'll get back to it and we'll glaze on our colors and see our finished product. I'm going to start, and I'm just going to make a circle using my brush cleaner. I just want to get a nice round circle. And that's just going to give me the basis for, you can see that I just made a nice light circle there. And that'll give me the basis for everything else I'm going to put on here. So there, I'm just using a tissue to blend out and smooth some of the graphite. And you can see that there. My camera is being a little wonky right now because it doesn't like how much white is on this paper. I'm using light pressure as I blend the graphite into the tooth of the paper. I'm also using very light pressure as I lay down the graphite, and I'm continuously turning my pencil. So you can see here, I actually have a very, very sharp point on this pencil right now because I just keep turning the pencil as I'm working. I will just continue to layer up the graphite until I get the value that I actually want. A note that this would be much faster if we had a range of graphite pencils in which case this is a 2B. If I just grabbed an 8B, I could get my darks in very quickly, and this would go so much faster. But since we're using only the supplies that came in our Art Snacks Plus box this month, we're just going to keep layering up to get the value we're looking for. I could also blend this with a stump, but since one did not come in our Art Snacks box, I'm just going to use something that most people will have around the house and just grabbed a piece of tissue. I will say though, what I would like about using a stump is if I had a blending stump, I could take the graphite that was on the end of my blending stump and I could actually use it to come back in and draw some of the trees I'm about to put in. Instead of needing to actually draw them with a pencil, I could just draw them and make them very soft with my blending stump. So that is something that I would do if I was actually doing this piece with any supplies that I had here in the studio. I want to test out our eraser. I was worried about having the, oh wow. Okay, so I was worried about having the black on the white paper. And that just, wow. So that just picked up, there's no dust. There literally is no eraser dust. And that just picked up all of that graphite. That picked that graphite up so smoothly. You can see here, it's still setting here, but this, it's just gone. Wow. I definitely like that. If we'll look right here where this smudge is, I can come through. Look at that line. This, I think, could throw in some great highlights. I like that. We're going to be trying that again when we get to highlights on our moon. If you haven't guessed by now, we're doing a moon with some trees, and it's just going to kind of be a almost like a foggy moon night scene that we're doing. And there's no eraser dust on here. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to put graphite all over the place, get it on my hand. So far, so good. You have to be really careful, especially some pencils. This pencil here, this Kimberly by Generals, I'm not getting a lot coming off of my hand, but I'm sure if I rubbed through that, that would happen. So just be aware, be conscious of that, be careful. Now I'm doing some shading on the moon, and I'm doing this, I don't have to be perfect. Right? I can look at an image of the moon and just get some general, there's certain areas that are dark and certain areas that are lighter. You might see some of the craters and those would be highlighted. But I just want to get some basic shadows down so that when I come over this with my thinned down gouache, these undertones, they're going to be there. really just starting to lay in where I want some of my darkest darks in my moon to be, and reserving some of those brightest whites. As I lay in trees that are going to be in the background, I'm just keeping my pencil on its side and I'm just putting in basic shapes. I would want some of the lights to show through here, but again, I don't want this to be my darkest values yet. You'll see as I do my trees here, I start very thin at the top and I'm literally just working little bits left and right as I work my way down, just so I'm giving the hint of that shape. The viewer's eye is going to do the rest for you. See, I start with a little line. I don't know if you can see this very well because I'm still working in a very mid value here. And I'll start with the line. Basically, if I know the line of my tree, and then I can just slowly start coming little bits left and right off the sides of that and start to lay in the hint, the shape of that tree, that there's a tree back there in the woods. So I really just want to kind of fill in and make it look like these woods are deep, right? Because my foreground trees that are going to really be my strong silhouettes here in front of the moon, so that this is all kind of pushed backwards, those are going to be much stronger. So I want to work my way slowly forward and build those values. If I get a line that's a little too hard, I'll just come in with my tissue and soften it up. Now I'm keeping the center kind of light because I really want that moon reflecting into my forest behind my foreground trees. These some of the easiest trees to do because they're so pushed back and you just really get that soft silhouette. It's just that impression. There's not a lot of details. I don't have to worry too much about everything being perfect. There was a dark spot right there from where what part of the lead laid down, and it wasn't lightening up when I blended it out, so I'm just going to create a little tree there. And that'll fix that. So there was just a really defined dot there. So we'll just make a tree. So now I'm going to put the trees in my foreground. I'm going to really want those to be my darkest values. And I can lay them in. I'm just going to decide where I want them, set my lines, and then I'll come back in and I'll just sort of add the branches. And then we'll put some wash on this and we'll be done. I'm also not going to worry if some of my trees overlap, my foreground trees overlap my background trees, because again, when I get these darker values, it's just going to push those other trees so much further back into my painting. Okay, so I've laid in some basic lines. First, starting with just these lines, this is going to let me know where I want kind of my clusters of trees, and I'll start to build them from there. I'm not too worried about the exact layout of my branches. I'm just going to keep slowly working them down and then build up my values once I have the ones that I like. If I lay these in, when I lay them in nice and light like this, if I get one and I don't like the look of it, I just won't go back over it and overemphasize that when I darken up my values. Now, I think before I continue to fill in all of my trees, I really want to kind of get some of this glow in here. So I'm going to pause with my foreground trees, lay in the wash for my background, and then come back and lay those in. So I did fix my brush that came with my Smart Art box. It's no longer bent. So if you missed that video, I will put a link to it here. And I'm going to just lay out my gouache. Now normally, because gouache is water-based, I would not use a palette like this. I want to be able to mix some water and really thin this out and glaze, to be able to glaze. Water's going to run right off of this piece of paper. So this might not work too well for me. I may have to switch to a regular palette. You could use a plate. Anything like that would work. So for starters, I just want to, I have my values down. I'm going to want a nice light wash. All right, I'm going to keep my water to my right so that I don't drip it on my painting as I move across. So get that brush wet, and you'll see that when I wet my brush, it definitely goes right back to that nice, sharp, straight point. So definitely would say we have fixed this brush. I'm going to take some of my gouache, and I want to mix it. I want a really light color. So I'm just mixing some of that yellow ochre with the white. And the thing of this is I can let, if this gets too dark, I can let this dry, go back over it with the lighter gouache, and that would work just fine. But I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper and just test my color. See, it's a very, very light color. And I think that when I go over my darks and my moon with this, that this is really going to give me a nice glow. There we go. I think we're going to use that. I think we're going to go with that. So, to start with, I want to light up my moon. And I am hoping that this will be thin enough that as it dries, all of those tones that I put in will come through. May need to be thinner. So you'll see here, I'm just thinning this down some more. And of course, the more I thin it out, the lighter it's going to get. And I'm going to dry off some of that out of my brush just so I can pull. Now this was the darker side of my moon, which is why I started here, just in case it did get a little too dark. It would be dark on the correct side of my moon. Sorry, clearly I can't think and try to be careful with my lines at the same time. There we go. I'm not going to worry if I go over some of this tree. So you can see how that just glazes that color. Just glazes that color in, and it lets all of the shadows I put in for my moon show through. Yeah, I definitely like that lighter version of that color. I'm still going to reserve my brightest spot here, and I'll keep getting lighter as I get towards that. And you'll see I'm bringing some of this lighter color back over so I can blend into that darker color I had. And actually, because this shows through so well, I'm going to go ahead and just go right over everything. I can come back, I'll be able to see right where my highlights need to go when I come in with my white. Another thing about this, when this dries, graphite, I don't know if you can see it, but graphite has a sheen to it. So that's going to have a bit of a shine. When this dries with the gouache over it, you're not going to, it's not going to shine so much. And I'm just going to come right down through here with this color so that I can get that same color glowing behind my trees. And I'm going to have to mix up some more. I should test that. And it's still a bit more yellow than what I had before. I'm going to need some more white. That's pretty close. Okay, so again, I'm just adding water. So the more water I add, just like regular watercolor, the more water I add, the thinner this is going to be. And the more transparent my result. It's going to lighten up that color, and I'm going to get a very nice transparent wash of color. You see, I'm just grabbing water because as I move towards the outside, I really just want to put a hint of that color in there. I'm just grabbing a touch of this color, bringing in a lot more water with my brush, and then I'm just barely going over the areas where I had my graphite laid down. And I'm actually going to do this with this really pale wash over the entire thing, just so I get some uniformity in the overall color. I just want to tone that gray to that same warm tone that I'm putting throughout the rest of my painting. So I knew if I wanted that moon glow coming through, I was gonna have to get it in there now, because I wasn't gonna be able to work that through my trees that are gonna be in the foreground. And this paper is definitely I don't have this paper taped down, and it's got a slight wobble to it, but it's really holding up well. And I've got quite a bit of water in here. And that sound is the UPS truck delivering new supplies for the studio. It's like one of my favorite sounds. Okay, so I have toned that, and now I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to add my next layer. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Apparently, I have lost the footage of after I let the paper dry. So this is the result. This is the final painting. What I did was I came back through with the white gouache and I added the highlights back onto the moon, and you see I put some stars in the sky. I splattered the stars up there. And then when I did the trees, my foreground trees, you'll see here, I laid in those I initially went through and set in all my branches. And then once I had the branches set, the ones that I really liked, I went in and I darkened some up so that I had multiple values here and did my tree trunk showing through here and there. So you'll see in the background all of those light trees that I initially put in, and the gouache just kind of covered over those and left them looking like they're really farther in the distance. And then we had that kind of nice yellowish, warm toned moon glow coming through the trees. So that was my completed piece with the products that came in the 2021 Art Snacks Plus box. So if you enjoyed this video, I do hope you'll take a second and hit that thumbs up. YouTube definitely rewards interaction, and I am a young channel starting to grow, and I appreciate you helping me out. I love the way that when I mixed the yellow ochre gouache with the white and then thinned it down to make it more transparent, because gouache is normally opaque. So by thinning it down and making it more transparent, I just really could get this nice, almost foggy look coming through my trees. So I was not sure what I was going to do with 2 tubes of gouache and some graphite, but I can say that I had fun with this one. I am glad that I gave it a go, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you'll give something like that a try. If you do, please share it, tag me. I love to see your work. All of my social media links are in the description below. I will link to any extra supplies that I talked about, as well as art snacks. I definitely am enjoying this box so far. What do you think? Let me know. Drop me a comment. Do you get the Art Snacks Plus box? Do you get the Art Snacks box? What do you think of them? In my opinion, so far, I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely going to keep getting it for another few months and get a bigger selection of boxes so that I can do a nice video for you like I did with the Smart Art box. So if these videos are something that you are enjoying and you like seeing the unboxing and creating the art, last time I just did an unboxing, but this time I wanted to create the art as well. And if you like that, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more like this, drop me a comment, because I definitely pay attention to all of your comments and I want to make a channel that you enjoy interacting with. So certainly let me know. As always, stay safe, my friends. Keep creating, and I will see you in the next one.